Hey guys. One of the things I've been really excited to share more of is how to eat mindfully. It's something that I've really struggled with. And in the context of our culture, it's really normal to be distracted when we eat. Whether it's sitting on the couch or scoffing something down in the car on the way to school, it's really easy to take for granted food that we eat. Like when I'm watching TV, I'll have this amazing plate of food in front of me, and then 5, 10, 15 minutes later I look down and it's gone. It's like, where'd that go? I still feel hungry. How we eat has such a huge impact on our digestion, on our health, and on our relationships with our loved ones. I noticed it's certainly true for me that the people that tend to eat with people that they love have better relationships with them. Some of the fondest memories I have of my childhood are laughing around the table every night with my family. I found it really helpful to tell others, to share with people that I love that I want to change the way I eat. If I'm starving, I've been rushing around all day and I haven't had a chance to eat, 9 times out of 10 I will scoff down food, and then an hour later my belly will be 3 times the size it was and I won't really feel so great. So there's a couple things here. One, making sure I always have water with me. The other, do my best to plan my days. So having some healthy snacks is really helpful in helping me eat mindfully. One of my favorites, roasted veggies, baby. Growing up, it was amazing how much I hated broccoli, but if you burn it just a little bit and get sort of a crunch, it's amazing. Yum. Another thing I find critical is the space I'm eating in. So I always think it's really important to reduce stimuli as much as possible. That means put our phones away, put my laptop away, put any books or loud devices, mostly electronics. I like to have a clean space, so just tidying up a little makes a huge difference. And I really find that a clean space inherently calms everyone down. It's really nice to just not have clutter around. Here I am in my kitchen, and I really try and make this a space where I make my eating a habit. Creating that habit in a place that I do this thing a lot makes it more repeatable. So just having less stuff around really helps, because otherwise the mind just grabs onto things so quickly, and we have to set ourselves up for success. The second food is put in front of me, especially if I've been cooking for a long time or waiting, it's really easy to just pounce on it. So one technique that I employ is simple: 3 deep breaths. It sounds simple because it is, but it's not easy. It's crazy how long 3 breaths can seem when you really actually do them. One thing that my grandfather used to say to me when I was young, it was one of those things that I really didn't appreciate at the time. After I would take a bite of food, he would say, "Put your cutlery down." I'd be so absorbed in just scoffing down my food, but I've noticed taking a pause in between bites, putting my cutlery down or a piece of food I have in my hand down, and really focusing on the sensations in my mouth, the smells, the sights, it makes a huge difference, and I enjoy my food so much more. When I sit down to eat, I've also noticed a huge difference taking some time to appreciate the food. One of my favorite practices is to think of all the many, many hands that have brought the food to us. It's amazing to consider the journey that our food has taken to get to our plate, and that invariably makes me so much more grateful and intentional with how I eat. And if you think about it, it helps us make healthier decisions. For example, thinking about where a Twinkie comes from is pretty off-putting. I find I'm a lot more mindful when I interact with the food as much as possible, from source to plate. So I try and be intentional when I'm washing vegetables or taking eggs out of the fridge to get a feel of the texture of the food, of how it smells, how it looks, the sound when I might cut it or peel it. And when I'm eating, I really like to pay attention to my senses. So having many of my ancestral roots in the East, specifically in India, I grew up eating with my hands a lot. We always talk about how food tastes better to us when we're eating with our hands. Mindful eating is a lot more accessible when we touch the food, when we smell it, when we really take time to see it. I came across an article a few years ago, and the guy who wrote it basically said, try and chew your food 30 to 45 times. So the biggest thing there for me wasn't even implementing this practice of chewing a lot, so much as making me mindful of how quickly I just scoffed down my food. I would chew maybe 10 times on a good day. So the first step is awareness. So starting to count how much we chew can really help impact our enjoyment of the food, our satiation, and our mindfulness. I really love to cook when I can. Cooking really makes me appreciate food a lot more. And I understand that a lot of people can't cook for a variety of reasons, but when I can, it makes a huge difference to my enjoyment of the meal. Hundreds of years ago, much of our existence was about getting food. So we would spend a large portion of every day dedicated to securing a meal. And when we sat down to eat it, I can only imagine how much more we would enjoy it. Some of my favorite meals have been after a long hike, weeks spent in the outdoors, starving, where simple things like a bowl of plain oats or a handful of nuts will taste like the most decadent dessert. And we have the opportunity to bring that sort of enjoyment and awareness into every meal that we have. So please, I'm asking that you share your insights, your experience with eating mindfully or eating mindlessly, so that we can help each other. We can shift this into the collective to help other people eat with more presence, with more joy, with more gratitude, and just see how these small changes can have a monumental impact on the world. Thanks for watching.